6-minute podcast. Business, study, life.
All right, welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive.
Glad to be here.
You know, I'm really excited about this one. We're going to be talking about events.
Oh,
And
yeah.
how important they are for communities. And we've got a whole stack of answers to the question, do you think events are important for the community? And they're really, really interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to get to the bottom of why these events are important. You know, a lot of people think, oh, events, those are fun. But it's way more than that.
It's so true. And I think when you look at these responses, you realize there's this depth to them that goes beyond just the surface level of, oh, this was a good time.
Yeah. Like right out of the gate, one of the things that struck me is the idea of events being social glue, you know, bringing people together. But what makes some events, you know, stickier than others?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think a lot of the responses kind of point to this idea of shared experiences and even more specifically doing things together.
Right.
So, you know, not just being passive observers, but actually participating. You know, think about like a community garden project.
Right.
Everybody gets their hands dirty. They're working together. Or maybe you have like a volunteer day cleaning up a local park.
Yeah, right.
That sense of shared accomplishment, I think, is really what strengthens those community bonds.
Yeah. So you're not just showing up, you're actually involved.
Exactly. And then those shared memories, you know, you think about inside jokes that you have while you're sweating over tomato plants or trying to remove that stubborn piece of graffiti.
Yeah, yeah.
Those become these powerful reminders of your connection to the community.
It makes a lot of sense. I also noticed, though, that a lot of the responses also mentioned cultural aspects, like events that showcase local traditions or local talent.
Right.
So is this where the idea of events being, you know, more than just entertainment kind of comes in?
Yeah, I think it plays a huge role. You know, think about a local music festival that showcases a bunch of different genres, or a craft fair that highlights, you know, traditional skills, even a community theater production.
Yeah, yeah.
These are all things that aren't just entertaining, they're enriching the community's, you know, cultural fabric.
Right.
They provide a sense of shared identity.
And there is that economic impact too, right? I mean, one response mentioned a local food festival generated over $5 million in revenue for local businesses in just one weekend. I mean,
that's amazing.
That's huge.
Significant.
It is. And, you know, it's a great example of how these events can really act as economic engines for a community. But, you know, I think the impact goes even beyond just the immediate sales.
Yeah.
You know, that money ripples throughout the entire community. So those businesses, you know, they spend more at local suppliers, they hire more staff, maybe they pay more in taxes, and that ends up benefiting, you know, everyone in the community.
So you're saying it's kind of a positive feedback loop. Absolutely. And then on top of that, you also have job creation, you know, especially for young people or people who are re-entering the workforce, giving them experience and valuable skills.
Yeah, it's really interesting. A lot of these responses, though, also mentioned community pride. Is that tied to the economic side of things, or is that something totally separate?
I think it's definitely connected, but also distinct. You know, seeing your community come together to create something successful, you know, whether it's a busy farmer's market or a charity run that has a ton of people attending it, it just fosters this sense of ownership and pride. And then that pride often leads to more engagement in civic activities.
Wow.
People care more about their community and get more involved.
So something as simple as, you know, an event can really have a huge ripple effect. And speaking of ripple effects, I noticed a bunch of responses also highlighted education.
Oh, yeah.
That events can be educational.
Absolutely. And it's such a cool thing to see, you know, lifelong learning in action. So like workshops, seminars, you know, maybe a guest lecture at the library, even skill sharing events where people like teach each other coding or gardening.
Right.
I mean, these events really foster this culture of learning and development.
Right. And it's not just about acquiring new skills. It's also about, you know, connecting with people who share your interests.
For sure. And those connections can even lead to collaborations, mentorships, maybe even new business ventures.
Oh, yeah.
You know, events can really be these incubators for creativity and innovation.
Yeah, it's so cool, you know, and it's really impressive just how much thought goes into these events and how impactful they can be. But, you know, we've been talking about social glue and economic engines and, you know, educational opportunities and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that events are also a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, that's a big part of it, too.
Yeah, we can't forget about that. I mean, you're right. We talked about, all these things, but at the end of the day, events are about enjoyment.
Yeah.
That community yoga class in the park, a charity run, just a neighborhood potluck.
Oh, I love potlucks.
Those are great. They encourage physical activity, social interaction. I mean, these are all crucial elements of well-being, too.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've covered so much ground here, and it's clear that events are so much more than just entertainment. They really tie the social, cultural, and economic fabric of a community together.
They do. It's amazing.
And they bring people closer, they promote learning, they boost the local economy, and they even help create, a healthier, happier lifestyle.
It's true. And it makes you wonder, what kind of event could you organize or participate in that would bring your own community closer?
Yeah, what a great question. What event could you do?
It's a good one to think about.
That's something for everyone to consider. And until next time, keep diving deep.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
6-Minute Podcast. Business, study, life.